Hi, my name is Toppagi. I'm a native Japanese speaker and I love kanji. Actually, I posted a video before on how to remember kanji characters, but this time I want to share an additional way to make it easier to learn and remember them. Let's go! Kanji must be learned when studying Japanese. Some Japanese language learners may find kanji difficult or hard to understand because each kanji character has multiple readings and meanings, making it very difficult to memorize. Furthermore, Japanese people have learned 2,136 kanji characters by the time they graduate from junior high school and use them in their daily lives. For those of you who have thought of giving up learning kanji after this story, please wait. First of all, let me tell you something good because I want you to be interested in kanji. Actually, when I said earlier that we use about 2,000 kanji characters in our daily lives, that was a half true and a half false. I think about 500 of those kanji characters are currently used in daily life. After all, among the approximately 2,000 kanji characters, there are some that are used frequently and some that are used infrequently. So you still feel you can remember 500 characters rather than suddenly being asked to remember 2,000. Right? Well, 500 characters is still a lot of them. But 500 characters, for example, is still easy to accomplish in about 50 days if you learn 10 characters every day. The first step is to learn a little at a time. Now, before I teach you how to remember kanji, let's talk about the advantages of kanji for the last time. First, it's cool! Each kanji has its own meaning and shape, so some people may have a favorite kanji. For example, yume, which means dream, is a very popular kanji. Incidentally, if you combine that with a part that means human, you get the kanji for hakanai. The meaning of hakanai is ephemeral. So, people in the past viewed human dreams is ephemeral. What do you think? Kanji is interesting, isn't it? After all, to learn, it's important to have an interested Japanese anime, manga, culture, whatever. Let's learn kanji and live a more fulfilling life! Okay? I talked about how to remember basic kanji in the previous video, and now I'd like to show you 3 ways to make it easier to remember them. As I talked about last time, it's still easier to remember kanji when you learn the radicals. I think the same parts sometimes appear when you are learning kanji. The parts are called radicals, and the radicals have proper meanings, and the meaning of the radical is often related to the meaning of the kanji. For example, look at this kanji. The left side is the same part. This radical is hihen and has a meaning related to tree or plant. Eda means branch, and ne means root. See, both have to do with trees and plants, right? Let's look at one more. This radical is kokoro, which means feeling. Kanashii means sad, and okoru means angry. They both have a feeling meaning. Thus, radicals and kanji are often closely related. A radical is just like a tag for a kanji. So, learning the radicals will help you learn more quickly. Therefore, when you memorize kanji, I'd like you to memorize the radicals together. The next method is to memorize kanji by combining their parts. Also, there are not many kanji that can be memorized in this way. I introduced it here because it's a way to understand kanji better and also to easily find kanji interesting. I want you to see this. This kanji reads ureshii and means happy, and it can be seen separately on the left and right. The kanji on the left side is onna, meaning woman. The kanji on the right is yorokobu and means please. Woman, in other words, how would you feel if your significant other was happy? Of course, you are happy. Earlier, I mentioned that the kanji for hakanai is because it's a human dream. But in this way, some kanji meanings can be determined by the combination of parts. Of course, this method requires a knowledge of radicals and their kanji, But I encourage you to try it because I think it makes kanji more interesting and easy to understand. This method is by no means applicable to many kanji, but it's useful to remember, so I'd like to introduce it to you. The kanji on the right side is often called tsukuri, and the reading of this tsukuri can be the reading of the kanji as it is. For example, this kanji reads say, and I want you to look at these kanji. They all have the same kanji on the right side, right? Then, here's a question for you. What would this read? The answers all read say. Yes, if you know the kanji for say, you can guess the readings of these kanji. Please note that this doesn't apply to all kanji, but it's a method that's easier to remember and useful. If you forget the reading of a kanji, so please use it. Okay. I want to talk about why it's a good idea and to learn kanji and vocabulary together. When you study kanji with vocabulary, and it helps you remember both better. You don't just learn a single character, and you learn how it's used in real words. This makes your memory stronger. Also, it helps you understand the meaning more deeply. For example, if you see the kanji for it in many different words like a to into a mean, you start to see how it works in real life. And the best part, it helps a lot with reading. You'll be able to guess the meaning of new words just by looking at the kanji. So if you want to save time and learn faster, try studying kanji and vocabulary together. It really works. Besides learning kanji and vocab through textbooks, let's make the best of online language apps. I recommend MochiKanji Learn Japanese app. MochiKanji is a kanji and vocabulary learning application. The first time you open the app, you'll experience some small personal questions that Mochi will base on and then tailor the suitable courses for you. MochiKanji offers more than 8,000 kanji and vocabulary that are divided into smaller courses and topics. So you can freely choose what topic you like and wanna learn. If you want to learn Japanese for JLPT, I highly recommend you to start studying the JLPT N5 N2 vocabulary course. Of course, there are also different courses such as IT, Nursing, Genki, Now let's actually study a lesson with MochiKanji. MochiKanji's lesson is very friendly and easy to understand. Each lesson contains 10 words kanji, and you just take 8 to 10 minutes to finish it. In this app, there are so many flashcards with pictures, audio and example sentences, and you can flip and see the meaning. This practice part is very easy to understand and remember. In each lesson, you can enjoy learning in a quiz format including writing, reading, and listening exercises. This learning method is truly the best way to learn kanji and vocabulary. Now let me show you how to make what you have studied stick. MochiKanji uses an active study method called the golden time based on the spaced repetition. I'll talk shortly about this. The spaced repetition system is a scientific and useful technique in learning kanji and vocabulary. It's a learning method that allows students to learn actively by extending the interval between the previous learning and review of that meaning. Look at the picture to understand why. According to the research on the forgetting curve by German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus, after we learn something, our brains tend to forget it over time following this curve. So the timing of repetition plays a critical role in how we memorize and recall information. By reviewing what you learned when you are about to forget, you'd improve your memory 10 times better. That specific timing is the best time to memorize. This the golden time is based on the history of kanji and new words you have learned in MochiKanji and is the best time for you to remember them. And MochiKanji automatically notifies you of the timing. Then you can re-study your kanji and vocabulary again at the optimal time. Furthermore, by utilizing this, the golden time, you'll be able to memorize 1,000 kanji characters and vocabulary. MochiKanji then divides your vocabulary memory level from level 1 to level 5. The good thing about this is that you can see your current level and you can visually see which words you need to focus on learning. You can also quickly see which words are at which level in this digital textbook. Furthermore, if you wanna focus on solely kanji, there is a separate kanji part on the MochiKanji App. You can learn 7 to 10 characters in each of these lessons, so if you do one lesson every day, you'll soon learn 500 characters. Furthermore, the great thing about this lesson is that not only can you learn the reading and stroke order, but you can also capture the kanji through illustrations because of mnemonics. In addition to that, words in which the kanji you are learning are also displayed at the same time, so you can learn more about the kanji. This is exactly my ideal lesson, and honestly, I could probably learn many kanji with this feature alone. Moreover, you can learn kanji characters from N5 to N2. I hope you will make use of this feature and find it useful. What's more, when you encounter any new words, you can search for them on J Dictionary. Very desu ne! And this MochiKanji also has a function called Mochi Garden. This feature will motivate you to study, because as you study with this apple every day, Mochi Garden will grow. The growth of Mochi Garden represents your growth, so I hope you will be inspired by the growth of Mochi Garden. Let me tell you how to download MochiKanji. Please open the Apple Store or Google Play and search for a MochiKanji. Or you can also find this app on the website. And I'll put the URL to download this app in the summary section of this video. So if you are interested, please download it. Okay. The last thing I want to tell you is to be exposed to kanji on a daily basis. In this way, you will be able to encounter a variety of kanji that you may encounter for the first time or that you have seen before. It's important to look up any new kanji or kanji whose meaning you have forgotten immediately. Japanese books and manga, for example, may be a little difficult, but they are a good way to encounter various kanji. You may also want to watch YouTube videos, dramas, movies, etc. with Japanese subtitles. I'd be very happy if you could increase your exposure to kanji as much as possible. I support you! Okay. How did it go? What I introduced here was a way to make it easier to remember kanji. I encourage you to use a combination of these methods and the methods described in the previous video. In summary, it looks like this. Memorize the meaning of the kanji as well. It's easier to remember if you also memorize the radicals, to learn idioms and to know more various kanji. For example, let's say that when you study the kanji for shoku, shoku means eat or food. You also study idioms such as shokuyoku, shokuyoku means appetite, and chushoku, chushoku means lunch, at the same time. Then you can learn a little about the kanji for yoku, yoku means greed, and a little about the kanji for chu, chu means noon. I explained this last time, but I think it is a good way to learn kanji in this way, little by little in a chain. Sometimes it's easier to remember the reading and meaning of a new kanji if you utilize the kanji you have learned. To write it down, look at it, and learn it. If you study with this in mind, you should be able to remember more efficiently. Good luck! Have a nice kanji time! See you!